Time now for Entre Nous. Our guest today is Julien Bardakoff. He's the French translator and adapter who shaped some of the most iconic names in video game history. We're pleased to speak with Julien as Pokémon celebrates its 30th anniversary. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you left your language studies at the Sorbonne to move to Japan and work for Nintendo. What pushed you to take that leap?
Well, I was a gamer first of all, and as a side job doing my studies in the Sorbonne, I started out as a hotliner. When you answer the phone when someone is stuck in a game. So that was like a side gig while I was doing my studies, and then I applied inside Nintendo to become a translator, and they hired me, and I started translating Nintendo games.
And what was it like moving from France to Japan in the 90s and being in a country where video games were so different and how they were viewed was very different to France, I'd imagine?
That was pretty cool. That was a pretty cool thing. I was in my early 20s, and that was my dream because I was into anime and manga and video games. I was playing in Japanese versions as a gamer, and I would do like some what we call fan sub. So you would translate it illegally, some games, just to have your friends playing them, and then I had to do it officially for Nintendo for the best games ever.
Did you realize at the time that you were participating in video games history?
Well, when they had me translate Mario games or Zelda games, I knew that it was a big deal already because it was like a very successful franchise back then. But when it was Pokémon, it was just a new thing, and I sensed the potential, but I was not a big fan at first.
You weren't a big fan?
No, I wasn't at all. And the more I worked on it and started translating and putting added value and some puns and some lore for the French version, I realized that this was going to be like a big thing. And all the creators back then convinced me that it was going to a big thing, and now the first surprise.
I mean, I have all these cards and goodies which we have on the set. They're not mine, but these are from my kids of my senior producer, Maëlys and Amaury, who shared their stuff with us today on the set. But I'm saying, when you're a translator for these things, how much leeway do you have?
Not much.
Not much.
At first, because the version, I mean, my mandate was to respect the original meanings, but some deeper meanings with Japanese culture was impossible to translate. So I had to make a parallel with the French culture and the French literature. For example, there's like a Pokémon called Beedrill, because it has like two waspy kind of drill. He's fighting with the bee sting like this, and translated into a reference to D'Artagnan and the Three Musketeers. So it's called Dardargnan because it's like typically French, and they loved it. The Japanese creators, they loved it, and they said, "Oh, okay." So there is like a parallel, and so you keep like the meaning of the Japanese with the drill, but Dardar. So there's like two drills, but it's like a sword play with D'Artagnan, which is like typically French culture.
The fact that we're speaking to you 30 years after Pokemon's inception, do you think that this phenomenon will last 30 years down the line? Given that we're living in this whole AI age, we don't know what's going to happen, and kids are now glued to their smartphones and...
Well, that's two separate subjects. The AI thing, that's like the scariest thing ever, especially for creators and voice actors also, and translators and all this. But back then, I had no idea that a few months later, after the French version was launched, that all the kids will know my names, the names I created, by heart, and they could, name all the 151 Pokémon. Ultimately, I did more than 200 Pokémon names, but I had no idea that it will become such a pop culture thing.
If you could sum up Pokémon's cultural impact in one sentence, what would it be?
It's like collecting, the competition, because it's a game where you can compete with your friends, and like you showed with the trading card, it's like the rarity effect, that you have like that very elusive Dracofeu, which is like the most expensive
these
card.
Things are worth a lot, right?
Sorry?
These things can be worth a lot.
Well, I think like Logan Paul sold his Charizard card for 16 million. Yeah, and some of the cards are even more valuable when they're in French. So, kudos to France.
Okay, kudos to France. Julien, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for coming in and speaking to us on the program today.
I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you so much. And you can check out other editions of Entre Nous on our website, france24.com.